One of our favorite LED fog light options for the 2014 to 18 Toyota Tundra is this aftermarket unit from Morimoto. It's got a cool black projector look and it's way brighter than stock. The Morimoto XB LED fog light housing for your Toyota is the only one that comes in a black type look. So if you're going for more of an aggressive look, the XB fog housing is a really good option. It is DOT approved, it uses Curia optics and a 5500K LED chipset. The way the wiring works is simple, it's totally plug and play. On the back side of it, you have a cord coming out with a couple pins. Remove the protective covers. And in the box, you've got your connectors. The kit comes with two fog light housings with two connectors. If you look at the connector that comes with, you can see that it's the exact same thing as your factory wiring connector on the old halogen light bulb. So you compare your fog light wiring to this, and you can hook up the wiring like this. Simply push them in place, wait for the click, and now your fog light wiring is ready to plug in exactly where the old light bulb came out. Now that's kind of similar to how the LED fog light works, except that connector is right on the fog light housing. So if you've got an 18 Tundra style fog light, it's also a plug and play replacement for that. So you could take the new OEM LED fog light from the 18 Tundra and swap it out for the black looking Morimoto for a more aggressive look on your Tundra and still have LED fog lights. Aside from the wiring being totally plug and play, so is the mounting. If you look at the brackets that come on the OEM fog lights, they're identical to the new Morimoto black LED fog lights. The position is the same, the structure is the same. The new Morimoto fog lights are going to mount in the housing exactly like the old ones. There's no cutting, there's no wire splicing, simple plug and play install. So you've got our automotive, you've got Morimoto, you've got the OEM housings, and then you've got a few different generic fog light housings that we found on eBay. You're going to find these from different sellers under different brands, so I can't call this one brand number 1 and brand letter B or whatever. Like, they're generic, they usually get shipped directly from China, there's no brand on it, and I want to compare these to the other options so you can see what your options are. So when you're shopping online and you see something that looks like this with the U-bar shaped daytime running light, you know it's this one. It is a universal fog light that has a different bracket depending on the application. You've got the wiring that comes out, so you've got your H11, H16 connector that fits your factory fog light wiring, and then you've got another connector that turns on the DRL. So you would wire in a wire harness to connect to this, and when you want the DRL to work, that'll turn on. Generally speaking, this style of light has a very poor quality lens. They leak, they chip, and they pit, and even right now I can see that there's some silicone missing from where the lens seals on the housing. So I bet if we did a torture test, this one wouldn't hold up very well. Next you have the even worse reflector style multi-LED fog light. These are notorious for being terrible. They're bluish white looking, they aren't bright, and they fail constantly. Check out how the wiring works. You've got a regular looking halogen light bulb socket on the back, but with this one, with the OEM one, when you twist it off, you have a bulb. With this generic LED reflector, you actually have the wiring for your LED. So it's not really a purpose-built housing. It almost looks like they took a old reflector housing and they installed some LED guts to it. Kind of an interesting design. All of these are going to mount the same. They're going to mount just like your factory fog lights. The thing that you need to look out for is what we're going to show you next: the beam pattern, the light color, the brightness intensity, things like that. And if you know anybody who's tried these, they fail. Lastly is the one that looks just like the new OEM LED fog light housing. Here you have the new 2018 Tundra LED fog light direct from Toyota. And here you have the generic Chinese knockoff that we got on eBay. They look almost identical. Very similar design all around. Obviously, somebody got their hands on the OEM Toyota version and they just copied it. It's cheaper, it's not as bright, and it's not as durable. Now we've got all the fog lights set up at a fixed point facing the wall at about 20 feet. We're going to use the digital lux meter and test the maximum brightness of each fog light so that we can compare them against each other. The lux isn't a good number for rating against other things outside of this test, so only use our data to compare one fog light to the other in this environment. The original halogen fog light creates 180 maximum lux. It's quite wide, tall, and a yellowish white color. Now here's the same fog light in the OEM LED version from the 2018 and up Tundra. As you can see, the color is a significant improvement. It's that modern, crisp, pure white color. However, it's not very wide. Also, the beam pattern is quite tall. Again, like you'll find in all of the fog light options, there's no hot spot. And this OEM LED fog light came in at 420 maximum lux, over 3 times brighter than the OEM halogen fog light. This is the beam pattern for the Our Automotive LED fog light. It has some hints of blue hue on the top and bottom. It's a nice curved beam, and it's way wider than both the original incandescent halogen fog light and the OEM LED fog light from the 18 and up Tundra. It appears to have a slightly more intense output than the OEM LED from the Tundra, but it actually measures about the same. The OEM LED 2018 and up fog light produces 420 maximum lux, and the Our Automotive fog light in the same test produces 400 maximum lux. The Morimoto LED fog light is slightly different. It comes in at about the same brightness as the Our Automotive and the OEM LED, just a little below. Our Automotive was at 400 lux, OEM LED was at 420, and the Morimoto comes in at 360 maximum lux. Still a huge improvement over the original halogen fog light. It's not quite as wide as the Our Automotive, and the intensity is really focused in the center section, so off on the edges you don't get quite as much intensity. It also has an interesting shape, and the color on the wall is a little bit more pinkish purple than the others. When examining the mounting holes and the face of the light, this is how this one is supposed to be shining when it's oriented up and down correctly, and that looks like a terrible fog light. That beam pattern should be kind of flipped like that. You need your cutoff line at the top, so I'm not sure if they just made this wrong or if it's supposed to be mounted upside down. And then you got this big dead spot, and then above it there's a bunch of random glare. So I'm not sure what's going on with this one. It's actually pretty bright. Comes in at 330 maximum lux. It's not super wide, and the beam pattern is terrible. This is what I would call an off-road light, not a fog light. The point of a fog light is to increase brightness directly in front of your vehicle so that when it's foggy or rainy or snowy, you can see the road immediately in front of you. The 4 LED generic fog light that we got off eBay is awful. This is easily the worst one we've tested. The original halogen fog light came in at 120 lux and actually had a fairly decent beam pattern for that brightness. This one only comes in at 100 lux, less bright than the stock one, and the beam pattern is all but useless. We've got no width, it's a big flood, there's nothing useful here. And you've also got these rings all over the place. That comes from all the different LEDs inside casting their own shadows. Terrible light. This is the generic fog light we got from China that looks like a knockoff of the new OEM LED. The brightness is pretty decent. It comes in at 320 maximum lux, which is brighter than the original halogen bulb, but the beam pattern leaves a lot to be desired. It's not very wide, it's way too tall, and there's an awful lot of scatter and glare both on top of the beam pattern and below. As you can see, there's a lot of reflections from a poorly designed housing and reflector. I don't know about you, but that would drive me nuts, seeing all of that projected on the road in front of me while I'm driving at night. There's a lot of options for your Tundra fog lights. The Morimoto is arguably the best looking one, and it's a great performer. Good quality, good optics, good warranty, great product. If you want to get more info about these, visit our website. It's www.headlightrevolution.com, or check the link in the description for this video. Let me know what you think. Which of these fog lights did you like the best? Which ones would you put on your Tundra? Thanks for watching.